Thank you, Hadley, for that really great interview. And Minister Steinitz, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate that. Before we go on to our conversation with Chairman of the Libyan National Oil Company, Mustafa Sanalla, I wanted to look at the results of one of the survey questions from the Global Energy Agenda, which is the publication we released yesterday morning at the Global Energy Forum. The topic we're going to raise follows a little bit, at least, from the conversation with Minister Steinitz. Israel has a tremendous amount of natural gas, and it plans to become a gas exporting powerhouse. However, just over the past couple of years, the perception of natural gas has changed pretty dramatically from a clear part of the decarbonization story as a cleaner alternative to coal and essentially being framed as a bridge fuel to, at least in some camps, part of the emissions problem. So we asked our survey respondents which of these statements best describes the future of natural gas. And we gave them 4 choices. First, gas will enable and integrate with key low carbon technologies such as hydrogen, but with a decrease in overall consumption in the medium to long term compared to current levels. Second, gas will be a necessary bridge fuel to displace coal demand while we wait for scaled renewables. Natural gas consumption will be slowly phased out over 30 to 50 years. Third, gas will be a destination fuel, maintaining a large share of the energy mix. And then finally, gas will have a minimal role in the future global energy mix, given the competitiveness of renewables. And I think you'll see from these results, it's really fascinating. Most 40% of our respondents think that gas is going to integrate with low carbon technologies, so that it's actually going to be part of the future energy mix story. It's not something that's fading away, though the demand will be smaller in the future. It's going to be an important role in enabling a low carbon future. So that's where the preponderance of our respondents think. The other large chunk of our respondents think that gas is the bridge fuel, that it eventually will fade away over 30 to 50 years. But that also suggests that it's going to play a key role in the energy transition. So a full 75% think that gas is an important piece of the energy transition. It's divided into 2 subtly different views on the role it will play, but that's a pretty big chunk of people who think that gas is going to be important. Now, you have, I think this is also interesting, that gas as a destination fuel is a much higher percentage of respondents than gas as having a minimal role in the future global energy mix, given the competitiveness of renewables. It's only 4% of the respondents of the survey who thought that gas is not going to have a role at all. And I don't have this chart right up in front of me, but it's interesting how these break down among the sectors of the survey respondents. Of our survey respondents, whether they worked in oil and gas or the electricity sector, or more narrowly in the renewables sector, it was only those in the renewables sector who think that gas is going to have a minimal role. And of those, it was only 12% who thought that gas was going to have a minimal role in the energy transition and the future global energy mix. So even among the people who are the most strong advocates of renewables, who are the most sort of pushing the hardest on the decarbonization of the energy story, even only 12% of those thought that gas would not have a role in the future energy mix. So it looks like gas has an important role to play, which is particularly important for a country like Israel with a ton of natural gas, but also a lot of innovation in clean energy technologies. I think the one final thing to look at here is those who think that gas is going to be a destination fuel, 21% of the respondents. Now, that actually was a majority of those who work in upstream oil and gas. So the people who work in upstream oil and gas are really still gung-ho on gas as a destination fuel, as ultimately an important piece of the energy mix, not something that will enable renewables. So there you have it. Looks like our survey respondents think Israel is well positioned to play a leading role in the energy transition. both because of its gas resources and because of its investment in clean energy technologies. I encourage all of you to read the Global Energy Agenda, where you will see that data and a whole lot of other really interesting data about the energy mix. It's available on the Atlantic Council website. Now let's go to Helima Croft, who will be speaking with Mustafa Sanalla, the chairman of the Libyan National Oil Company. So over to you, Helima.
Thank you so much. As we think about the global energy outlook for 2021, I am so thrilled to have this discussion today with Mustafa Sanalla, chairman of the Libyan National Oil Company, who has done so much to restore his country's oil output and unify his nation in incredibly turbulent times. Your Excellency, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Helima. Thank you.
I've seen recently a pretty remarkable recovery in Libya's output, which has really taken a number of market participants by surprise. Can you walk us through what were the key factors that allowed Libya's production to rise so significantly?
Again, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm proud really to be your guest this evening or this morning with you. Also, I'm happy that regardless the production we pump in the market, still the prices are good and also improving. So it means that there is stimulation in the market and situation is going to be good. I hope that. So I think we add around 1.3 million barrel a day, and the market is still, want more oil. And the OPEC and OPEC Plus also reduce the cut. It means the situation, I think, is good. Libya is producing oil since 1961, and we have the technical staff, who was able to produce and to maintain the facilities. And really, we are proud of our staff, Libyan staff, also our joint venture, also the other partners from Total, from Marathon, from Hess, from Equinor, from OMV. So it is really, the support of everybody here in this country, Libyan staff, and also our partner, who also help us by financing some expenses, some capital budgets. So all of this was utilized in proper way during the shutdown time. As you know, since the last year's January 17 last year, there is no production in Libya. Almost all production, only the offshore was online, other onshore all under blockade. And we utilized that time for shutdown. We made a lot of maintenance work on the infrastructure, some workover operation, especially submersible pumpers, and repair some leaks. Also, we bought some new field. We were preparing a new field. Once we left the first measure, we started production, so we boom the production. So I think this is, as I said, is a gathering work between NOC and its partner. Yeah.
So a lot of investors want to know, will this recent rebound in production, will it be enduring? Because as you know, since 2011, we've seen Libyan production rise and fall pretty dramatically. And so the question I'm getting is, will it be different this time around? And we've recently seen about 200,000 barrels come off because of a pipeline leak. And so what are we thinking about in terms of infrastructure and maintenance? Can these levels be sustained?
I hope that we can sustain, but this is conditional to two things, I can say. First is the stability of production. There's no more blockade. This is a very important issue. The second one, the budget. If we receive the budget at the right time, so I think we can sustain production. Unfortunately, now we shut down one of the pipeline. Considered as a good pipeline, is we produce almost 200,000 barrels a day. But hopefully that we can recap again within 10 days from now. So, but this can give you an indication that the infrastructure in Libya really in bad shape. This pipeline is aged more than 60 years, I can say. This is operational since 1961. So you can imagine the age of the pipeline. So we need more budget. And we are now discussing with our partners how to finance and how they can help us. If the government could not give NOC the right budget, maybe we can take the budget from our partners. So our partners are keen to help on this regard.
On the topic of budgets and funding, I want to ask you about oil revenue management. Can you talk us through where we are in terms of having a mechanism to share oil revenue across the regions? Is the current mechanism allowing the government in Tripoli to have sufficient funds? How big an issue is this to be resolved?
To be honest with you, if you look to the source of problem in Libya this is economical and social problem. We have to admit this fact. It is not other ideological problem or ethnic problem. And in the country, the war was only focused on the budget, on the money. So I think this is because of economic situation and social situation in this country. If Libyan people sit down together and with the support with UNISMIL, with United Nations, with Libya as a friend, sit down together and they have this political agreement right now is under supervised by UNISMIL, by Stephanie Williams and her staff. I think we will have, like the light at the end of the tunnel of the problem in Libya. If there is no agreement between the social problem in Libya, the people should feel that this wealth is for all Libyans. It is not for only one region. And the Libyan people, very peaceful, people. They want to live, good services, good healthcare, good housing, good education. That's all, nothing else. But unfortunately, they are seeing, and also myself, I'm seeing this as a chairman of NC, and also as Libyan, regardless whatever we have done during the last 10 years or 9 years, we generated more than 186 billion US dollars, and nothing was built in this country. No one road was paved, no one block was built, no hospital was built, no airport. So I think there is a corruption in this country. And because of this, unless we solve this issue, I think it will be a problem again for the revenue. So what I'm saying, I'm calling is for the justice in using the revenue, rather than dividing the revenue or make a share, sharing the revenue. Maybe that's not the right terminology. I think the right terminology is the justice use of the revenue. I think this is NOC view and my also personal view.
Now we have a new administration in the United States. I'm wondering what you're looking for the United States to do going forward to help drive this process of political reconciliation and economic recovery.
I have to say that Libya is a friend, really, the US government, British government, Italian government, French government. I can say the 5P, all of them really, they were very friendly, especially with keeping UNC united and making UNC is unity. So all of the United Nations Security Council resolutions since 2146 and 2259, 2278, 2259, 2362, and 2510 and 2509. All of this resolution is by the support of the 5P, US, UK, France, Russia, and China. But I can say there is a fantastic contribution or support from US government. Really, we are, maybe I can say, we are in daily or weekly discussing with the US authority how to support Tunisia, how to support the legitimate body in Libya. I think this is the US in general, all administration, Baraka administration, and even a Trump administration, because we work with the same people. We worked before since I can say myself since 2013. I was working, with the same staff. So I think the staff which NC working with is the same staff or some change, but I think they're keeping the same track for keeping NC, running and protecting NC from the division, protecting NC from, from the militia, from other politicians who trying to divide.
Your Excellency, a big focus of this Atlantic Council conference is on the energy transition. And the incoming Biden administration is putting combating climate change at the heart of its policy agenda. Can you talk about where Libya is on the energy transition? What are you looking to do to prepare your country for the transition? What type of investments are you making in renewables? And will you be able to sort of work with the Biden administration on this challenge?
Yeah, before I'm going to answer this question, let me come back again to the previous question. We have signed an agreement or protocol with the U.S. Energy Department 2 weeks ago, and now they are helping us for more transparency, making NRC more transparent, and we are working very hard on this one. There is a support from U.S. government to NRC. I think this is a very, very important issue. Our vision is we have to focus more about renewable, about solar, especially the country is rich of sun and with solar in general. We have now discussing with ENI and also with Total, with Repsol about making self-demand of power inside oil field. And in later stages also we can make the same to our neighborhood where we live, because if you look to the sea, is work across the country from the far east to the far west, from the north to the south. So we have all neighborhood here, and we said we can support this neighborhood, especially the isolated area, with the solar. The solar it will be a good solution because burning oil it is not in our vision. We have to focus more about using the last drop of oil by going to the manufacturing, by refining petrochemical and utilize the oil and gas. So I think we are focusing on this one. We are now, I said, in discussion and we'll work with ANI and with Repsol and Total also. We discuss with them. Hopefully that we can elaborate more on the special renewable. Next week we are going to receive some stuff from Total. So we are going to discuss all these aspects.
You started the discussion in your opening remarks talking about OPEC and the recent OPEC production decision. I'm wondering where you see Libya's role in OPEC evolving. You have been exempted from the production cut since 2016. If your production proves to be sustainable at these levels, do you envision a scenario where Libya will be participating in future adjustment mechanisms?
Let me first say Libya is joining the OPEC since the early days, so it's one of the founder of OPEC, and we have a good contribution in OPEC, and Libya also is a major player in North Africa, if I can say, and supplying the oil especially to the Europe, and we will be. We were for the last 6 decades, and I think we are going to be more decades, and we will be a major supplier of fuel and energy in general, maybe in solar, and one day I hope that for the next decades. So Libya, I think it's a unique location. And now again, come back to the production. As I said, when we bump 1.3 million, I think in weeks, we just bump this quantity. The market is still, there is stimulation, the market, and the market absorb all this quantity. And even we have in the last meeting, OPEC and OPEC Plus, which 10 days ago, we reduced the cut. The other nations reduced the cut. It means that the market is still, there is a need on the market. I hope that the market will improve after COVID crisis, especially after the vaccination. I'm not seeing any cut maybe in the near future. But Libya quotas was producing 1.7 barrel a day. So that one is our quota. And we have some ambitions also, maybe within 3 years from now, if situation would be permit us, we will reach 2.1 million barrel a day, not only 1.6 million a day. So we're going to target 2.1 million a barrel, and we are discussing with our partners. We divide the project is with our partner, with ENI now, this is the Italian giant company. We have mega projects now under engineering now from London. We are going to develop the A&E structure in the northwest of the country. This on the offshore area. We are going to produce more 760 million standard cubic feet per day of gas, and also we are going to add about 35,000 barrel of condensate and oil. So this is the one. And also we have with the Total, with with other partner in Waha companies, our subsidiaries. Also, we are going to develop in Jalo area, with North Jalo and area 98, and also Jalo 3. So we have a lot of projects right now. Also, in certain company, we in February, hopefully that we are going to put a new oil field online, this Al Khair field, and we are going to add more oil. We hope that situation, as I said, steady situation. There's no war and stability, no blockade, and also we receive the budget. Yeah.
So when we think about OPEC, we think that potentially for this year, we're not talking about Libya joining any cuts, but going forward, if we start to see Libya's production rise up to sort of the 1.6, 1.7, that would be a level that you'd be comfortable with, then Libya joining a production cut.
As I said, Libya is exempted from the cut, and maybe the stimulation on the market. So maybe there is more consumption, and the oil. I think maybe there is no more cut. As you remember, the cut only after 2014, the war between OPEC and OPEC Plus. But now there is a harmony between OPEC and OPEC Plus, especially led by Saudi Arabia and Russia. There is a harmony between these two states and two nations. Maybe you are not going to see more cut on the market.
So if we think about your investment plans, because you've talked a lot about your sort of plans to grow your production, what do you need to do you've talked about your plans to grow production, your partnerships with international oil companies. What more do you think you have to do to convince international investors that Libya is a safe place to invest? We have a lot of major energy investors watching this interview right now. What would you tell them is the case for investing in Libya?
First of all, now we are preparing, a portfolio for the reserves in Libya. Now we're working with DNM. This is one of the engineering company in Texas, in Dallas, and Texas. They are going to ratify all our reserves, and also the best way of partnership with our partner. So we have a high potential in this country. I can say is 50% of onshore. It is not explored yet, and also 50% of explored onshore, it is not exploited yet. There's a huge potential in this country, and if I'm speaking about the offshore, is more than 90% is not explored yet, and only maybe 3-4%. That's all we already exploited, where we produce around 2 billion standard cubic feet per day of gas from the northwest. So there is a huge. And the partners know this very well. I can tell you that, for instance, the Total appetite is high to be a partner in Libya. Now, as you see, after the transaction between Marathon and Total, and I think Total is going to invest more and more in Libya. Also, we are focusing on the U.S. market. Hopefully, that we can travel to Texas and Washington. We had a plan, unfortunately, in last March, we have big delegation. Even the visas were ready, and we should travel. Unfortunately, then there's the lockdown. So I think our plan is to make presentation to U.S. companies. At that time, CERAWeek, I supposed to attend the CERAWeek last March, and with me, most of these subsidiaries, the chairman, they were joining me. They're supposed to join me. I think there is a huge potential in Libya. But I'm also on top of this, I can say Libyan oil, what we call the engineers, is easy oil. So easy to produce oil. There's no too much problem in Libya. The Libyan oil is one of the most sweet oil in the world, and it's easy production. There's no problem in Libya. So the atmosphere is fantastic. And as I said, even there is no too much difficult, geological structure in the country and in our basin. So this, I think, is more easy to produce oil from Libya rather than produce oil from Siberia or from other places. So I think there's a huge potential. And I'm saying also the reservoir in Libya is still producing. I can tell you some reservoir producing since 1962, 63, and without support. You see, it's still producing, without any support, without any enhanced oil recovery or improved oil recovery. So it is really, easy oil, and there is a huge potential in this country.
Your Excellency, just one quick follow-on to that. I think many investors still remain sort of concerned about the above ground risks. You have beautiful geology, but the concern is about the above ground security situation. What comfort can you give on that front?
Really, we are mitigating the situation. I can tell you, for instance, we have a giant gas field, gas field that is I call Faraq. It is in Sirte Basin. It was in commissioning, and then we had this problem, war in this country. Then we stopped, and then the companies came back again. But before they came back again on last April last year, I mean, so they asked for some mitigation. So we prepared for them, like a safe haven and some procedure, and they came back and they already commissioned the first phase of this giant field. We produced now. They came back again 10 days ago to commission the second phase of this giant field. So we are doing some mitigation. And if you look, as I said, the competition now, some IOCs want to resist Libya and they stay. And if you look, I can give you example. Total is one of the giant company in the world. And Total, when Marathon want to leave, so the transaction and they have done with Total. And Total appetite for working in Libya. So this can give you indication that the others want to invest. Eni also, they want to invest more and more. This mega project right now we have on the offshore. And I said this is a mega project. It is almost between $5 to $6 billion US, and the Italian is injecting the money and they want to develop. So this I think can give you the impression of the IOCs that the country is beautiful regardless of the situation. But I think we can produce more oil, and they can also generate more revenue from Libyan oil, oil and gas from Libya. Yes.
Your Excellency, I just have one final question for you. It's really about your sort of personal career. You've been seen as an official, a government official that can travel throughout Libya, even during the most turbulent of times. Can you talk about sort of the challenges you faced in Libya in your role as head of the national oil company, and what has allowed you to be able to sort of talk to all sides in the dispute?
I think there is three reasons or three piles, if I can say, which make me and also the board of director and the unity of NOC. I think this three is NOC is run by technocrats rather than by politicians. So only we look for a technical side. We are from the whole country, from the east, from the west, from the north, from the south. So all of us are here, in NOC and the subsidiaries. We have 28 subsidiaries. We are a holding company, so we have 28 subsidiaries. And our worker, we have more than 65,000 employees. So we are a huge organization. So first of all, we are technocrat. The second, I think, is the transparency. We are working in a very transparent way, and we are fighting the corruption. So every single tender you can see at our website. It is clear that everyone is enjoying, and it is very clear that transparent. We also, each month, we are issuing a statement about how much we generate. And I think this is give us the trust from the Libyan people. The other one, also, this is also another reason, is we are helping the neighborhood. So we believe the neighborhood are like stakeholders. So they are supporting NOC, supporting fighting blockade, supporting NOC by all means. And also we support them. We support them by some social responsibilities, some social programs, sustainable development programs, like healthcare, like a service, education. So we, even in the COVID, we were maybe the first organization who helped the whole country, especially our neighborhood where we operate, and also the others. So I think this is the three reasons keep NOC united, unity, and we can travel. 2 weeks ago, I was 10 days for the General Assembly meeting or annual meeting in Marseille, Brega. This in the middle of the country. And then there is 1 day of I went to Benghazi, and then I came back again to Ras Sanouf, also in the middle of the country. So I visited the petrochemical complex. I was supervising what's going on with the startup of the petrochemical complex, especially the cracker and polyethylene plant. So I think this is the Libyan people knows that NOC is out of this politics, and our position always was clear. If someone want to harm NOC or to shut in. So we say this is very frank. You are not allowed to harm the NOC employees or NOC assets. So I think this is very clear. If someone also want to stop the budget, also we blame him. Don't stop the budget. So I think we have a neutral position. We're not assiding anybody in this war. This is our position since 2014, since the division of the country. So NOC took this position to be a neutral, and also this is supported by United Nations, again by United Nations Security Council Resolution 2259 and 2362. Also, this gives this NOC is a neutral, independent, and united institution. And the Berlin talks also admire that and also ratify that NOC should be in this position. So I think this is the reasons.
Well, Your Excellency, thank you so much for this interview. We wish you well, we wish Libya well, and we hope for your continued progress on all fronts. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much, Helima. Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice day. Thank you. Thank you.